Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And on today's Going In Raw News Brief, we find out who's in charge of booking Roman Reigns, who is allowed to stream on Twitch, and what is going to happen tonight on NXT. But first, is Monday Night Raw falling apart? Larson, what's in the news?
I like how you got your who, your what. You need a why. So perhaps why is Monday Night Raw falling apart? This is what's in the news. So we noticed yesterday and made note of it on our Raw preview on News Beef yesterday that WWE had basically nothing on their official Raw preview. And apparently that was the case up until basically the show started. And Gary Cassidy may have an explanation as to why, according to Cassidy. Quote, Vince McMahon hadn't looked at the show until so Monday morning, and talent last night was being pitched under the provision Vince hadn't read the show yet. He continued, SmackDown has a driving force behind it. Raw does not. I'm told there isn't an urgency to get the show done in time for promotions or to get talent's input. He also added that, quote, Sportskeeda has learned that the two names spearheading the writing team for Monday nights are not up to the task getting the show done in time or getting input from talent in a timely manner. Additionally, a source stated to Cassidy that, quote, Raw has really fallen apart without Heyman driving the creative.
Why aren't you reading these quotes in Paul Heyman's voice? Because clearly he is the source here. Come on. Give me a break with this. This sounds like the most agenda-driven BS. Look, me personally, just speaking for me, I've actually enjoyed Raw more since Paul Heyman's been gone. I think that that the game has been stepped up a little bit. How many times during Paul Heyman's reign was it the same thing week after week after week?
To be fair, that's something that's plagued WWE for a while. How many various iterations of Seth, Buddy versus members of the Mysterio family have we seen for going on, 6 months basically?
Yeah, I don't know how many more of those we can get, but it was the same thing. And I just think that how long was Aleister Black in that room for?
That actually predates Paul Heyman taking over as executive director.
He had the run where it was squashing jobbers on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's not as if SmackDown has been consistently great either. I mean, more often than not, just good. A couple weeks back, it was a turd of a show.
Yeah.
I think it's the nature of working for Vince. Jimmy Jacobs had an interview. I forgot where it was exactly, but he was talking about, and it's nothing new, but just reiterates the environment there where, the writing staff has to walk on eggshells on a daily basis for fear of doing something wrong to draw Vince's ire and getting fired. They can't get fully invested in anything they do because Vince is probably going to change it day of the show. It doesn't sound like a healthy creative environment.
Yeah,
I know. Doesn't. So I kind of feel like regardless of who's in charge, if every decision is left up to a fickle 74-year-old man who, depending on his mood for the day, could be in the mood to actually be creative and inspired or just not be, you're going to get mixed results.
I mean, I think that there's probably, we've heard forever now that he'll show up, he'll rep up a show, and even under Heyman, he was doing that. It's not like, I don't know. I don't feel Raw. I personally think that Raw has been an improvement. And that might be just my own personal taste. I don't feel like there is much of a difference in terms of there have been episodes that obviously were written on the fly. Last night's episode, the way it finished, number one, that got a lot of positive feedback. I thought it was weird. I understand why people liked it, and it's fine. But one thing about it is that it felt like the natural finish to a particular thing. The entire Mysterio family coming together to enact vengeance on behalf of Dominic. That, to me, you might not like the writing, but it's solidly scripted writing. It's solidly plotted writing.
I understood why they did it. Did it resonate with me? Not really,
but
I understood why. Yeah,
but it's solidly plotted.
It's a logical step of the story. Yes,
it didn't meander. The idea, especially the quote about there are the two people who are running Raw aren't equipped to deliver the show on time. Well, if Vince doesn't get to the arena until 3 hours before the show and looks at now, look, admittedly, neither you nor I have inside sources, which would give us some illumination into how these things actually play out. We read the news side, same as everybody else does.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be a common thread of Vince shows up moments before the show airs, looks at a script and rips it up. I'm not sure if he had the script 2 weeks ahead of time, if that would change. I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, if he doesn't read it till the morning of, you can have it months in advance. It's not going to matter.
Yeah. So I don't know, dude.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to Vince,
It does.
You could try to pass blame on down the line, to whomever and the creative staff. But at the end of the day, it's Vince. It's his responsibility. That's the responsibility he's taken on still to spearhead creative to a certain degree. And if he hasn't approved the show and then rips up the script an hour before it's supposed to go live, it's no one's fault but Vince.
It doesn't, I mean, this story just doesn't really, I'm not doubting that Gary Cassidy talked to people. I'm not saying that he's making this up at all. I'm sure he did talk to people. But you and I have always said this, people in the pro wrestling industry, they all have their agendas, they all politic, and sometimes they can use, the dirt sheets to, if you will, journalists, whatever you want to call them, to get that info out there. This kind of feels like one of those spots. Raw honestly doesn't feel like it. I look at the Hurt Business stuff. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been solid, and I think it's been plotted well. So, I don't know.
Going back to the Jimmy Jacobs bit, that was on the 2-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast. Read some transcripts from that. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Paul Heyman, we found out via Fightful Select, they're terrific. Go subscribe. That seems like he is basically landing in the same spot that he was with Brock Lesnar, apparently Ronda Rousey, Goldberg, in that he is maybe in charge of Roman Reigns' creative. So Fightful Select had this. Following a tip from Wrestle Talk's Louis Dangour, Fightful Select is reporting that Heyman has been involved in Roman Reigns' booking since his return at SummerSlam, noting that Heyman has been, quote, credited for lending to the reveal, the finish of the pay-per-view at Payback, and the promo from last week's SmackDown, his sort of hush-hush, maybe he's scared of Roman Reigns type thing. So not terribly surprising. He always seems to have a way with, whatever he's involved with on camera, being the guy that might be heavily involved in it behind the scenes as well. So kind of an interesting note. We'd wondered about that one.
Yeah. I mean, anytime Heyman is involved on screen in some capacity, you wonder behind the scenes if he's in some way involved in the creative for whatever he's doing. And his, history has kind of indicated that's the case. So it's not massively surprising that that's the case here as well.
Yeah.
So this has been an ongoing thing since Friday regarding WWE telling their talents, hey, you can't stream on Twitch, can't be on Cameo, so on and so forth. We talked about the latest, what happened over the weekend on yesterday's News Beef, because WWE issued a statement over the weekend, an attempt, I think, to clarify their protocol about the third-party platforms and how superstars make money on there, but it really didn't clarify much. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer himself, Dave Meltzer, WWE held some sort of talent meeting yesterday, I think before Raw, to further clarify the company's stance. And this is what Meltzer is reporting, quote, talent will be able to maintain both YouTube and Twitch accounts, but have to do so using their real names as opposed to their WWE ring names. They were told they would have to inform the company of YouTube and Twitch accounts using their real names. Additionally, Meltzer notes that, quote, nothing was made clear of exactly what won't be allowed, although the belief was that Cameo wouldn't be allowed. But we were told that was still super vague. So we had heard that, the digital meet and greet thing is something WWE is really starting to get into. They did it for SummerSlam, $125 for 2 minutes of time with the superstars who were on the schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see more of those, per pay-per-view. Don't know. I mean, I guess it's good they offered some clarification that said, hey, you can do it if you distance yourself from your WWE persona.
Yeah, wouldn't it be awesome one day if like a report came out from, let's say, Fightful Select, that WWE gave their wrestlers a comprehensive and coherent strategy for change and how it would benefit the wrestlers going forward, and exactly what steps are meant to implement, et cetera, and why it makes WWE a wonderful place to work instead of just
it just seems
stop
like
what you're doing.
Vince got some information about how much talents were making doing this stuff on their own. It's like, well, they're doing that using personas and names that we created. They can't do that.
Yeah,
unless I get a piece of it.
I wonder. So like with the Cameo stuff, they were told they have until like early October.
Yeah.
Have they kept, like, have you checked Cameo to see if, for example, Big E has kept his profile up, until like...
I have not done that. I've seen that some WWE superstars, like I know Sasha Banks, she changed her name on there. It's not Sasha anymore. I think it's Mercedes Motivation or something like that. That's what I saw on Twitter. Someone posted that up. So I'm assuming, again, I haven't checked, that much like how superstars have approached things on Twitch, they are maybe trying to do the same on Cameo, using their real names, in an effort to kind of get around, whatever crackdown Vince is trying to implement. Yeah,
we'll see how that all plays out. Last night, of course, the Steve and Larson account on Twitch, very popular account, is subbed to. We were gifted a sub. To Ataz on Z, A to Z on YouTube. That's Aleister Black and Zelina Vega on Twitch. And I get, this is great. So like whenever Zelina Vega goes live, it's like the notification. She writes like a novel in like the notification email that we get with Tom, with Aleister. It just says, "Food for thought" is the title, and then in parentheses, Tom. And then in the little thing that, the email just says... The body, it says, "Come talk." I've got food for thought. Maybe some ice cream for thought.
There you go.
Tom,
there you go.
Come talk.
Economy of language for old Tommy N there, huh?
He's saving his words for the actual...
You think
stream.
All that time spent in that room just pondering and pontificating.
Right.
He'd be far more verbose, but I guess not.
Exactly. NXT Super Tuesday 2 is tonight, which bums me out because I still haven't figured out if I'm going to run Impact on our channel on Twitch or not. I don't know. But I'll figure that out in a couple hours. Finn Balor, Adam Cole, of course, are going to collide at NXT. This is overtime. This is the overtime for the big match, the Iron Man match, huh?
Yeah, they had no winner.
I think the winner is going to be Rhea.
Yeah,
Larson.
I think so too. Also, Rhea Ripley versus Mercedes Martinez inside steel cage.
Oh,
that's tonight as well.
Oh, that's good. Also, Bronson Reed is going to beat Austin Theory.
Gosh, I hope so.
Wow, they actually put that he's going to beat him in the preview?
No, it says
that's
battle,
crazy.
He better beat him. Sorry, over like the last few weeks, I'm a huge Bronson Reed fan now. I think he's really good.
He is really good. Dude,
sky's the limit for that guy.
Steps. Okay, baby steps. Just to bring him along. It's going to be a very satisfying win over Austin Theory. Relax. He'll be brought along. There's a whole process. Mr. Hotshot.
Should have won that ladder match. Anyways, Killian Dane to go one-on-one with Roderick Strong. Again, Super Tuesday 2.
Super Tuesday also.
No, number 2.
Oh, number 2. Okay. That'll be a good match. I love Roderick Strong, man. I can watch that guy wrestle all day long. He's terrific. Anyway, should be a really good episode of NXT. We're going to be doing our live reactions, or I'm sorry, a recap of it afterwards on Twitch.
Yeah.
And then maybe at 5, when NXT comes on, I'll air Impact on a co-stream because they let us do that on Twitch. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. It's going to be like a game time decision. I don't know.
Stay tuned to the Going In Raw Twitter or Steve's personal Twitter for an update.
Go follow us at Twitch. You'll find out. Food for thought. Food for thought. Tom.
Come talk.
Thanks for watching. Go subscribe. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.